Hello and welcome to another Bearded Geek toy review. In today's video we're going to see if this recently re-released Emperor Davros figure is as good as the original release. Stay tuned. Yes!
Hello. Dalek Mothership, come in please. Come in, please. There you are.
Welcome back to the channel, and here's the second of our videos for this last couple of days. And here we have the Emperor Davros, which is a re-release of the original figure, which I have here, which came in this 2-pack with this destroyed Imperial Dalek. And was released in March 2012, and it retailed for around about £20, I believe, which was quite a bargain at the time, especially given that a lot of Forbidden Planet and Underground Toys exclusives, that obviously this was part of that range, were probably quite expensive. They were in always the £30 to £40 bracket. So the fact that obviously this was at a lower price was quite a good deal at the time. And I remember it sold out like absolute hotcakes. It really did sell absolutely very, very quickly. And obviously as a result of that, this Davros figure became quite sought after and was very desirable on the secondary market, and was going for quite a hefty price. And obviously it was one of the figures that everyone was clamoring to be re-released in the B&M exclusive range of re-releases that we've had for the last several years. And Al Dewar, who is the head of the range at Character Toys, did say a couple of times in various videos and podcasts that you're never going to get this guy ever again because we've lost the molds. We don't know where they are, and it's too expensive for us to retool the molds, because if you know anything about action figure making, to tool the steel molds for a particular action figure does cost a large amount of money. You're looking at 20 to 30,000, production, pre-production costs before you even put the figure into actual production, to just get those steel molds absolutely right for you then to mass produce the figure there. So yeah, it isn't a cheap business making action figures, which obviously underlines why sometimes they're the prices that they are. However, they then announced last year that they had found the mould, and I believe it was somewhere in New Zealand, bizarrely, or Singapore. It was one of the two, and that has enabled them to redo the figure and put it out as part of the B&M range at a bargain price of $12.99. Yes, I know, $12.99 for this guy. Which I was flabbergasted at. I actually thought, obviously, when they announced it, I thought it'd be the standard price of what the Dalek sets are, which is $21.99, and I thought, yeah, they're going to charge $21.99 for that. But no, they've charged $12.99 for it. And the reason why I'm a bit late with this video is two things. Because one, I've already got it, and I absolutely love the original version, and I'm going to obviously be probably quite critical of this new version and the comparison, and give you my thoughts on whether I think this is a good upgrade or not. But obviously there was that, and then there was the fact that I couldn't find it anywhere. None of my local B&Ms were stocked it. They stocked the other B&M set that we've had so far this year, which is the Resurrection of the Daleks set, but no Emperor Davros. Couldn't find him anywhere. And then earlier today, day off from work, just happened to be in a B&M near where my mum lives. Just popped in for a few things, and they had absolutely loads of them on the shelf. Bloody loads of them. So I thought, right, I'll pick it up. It's time for me to do a comparison video and see whether or not I think this is a worthy upgrade. Because a lot of people are saying, oh, it's far better than the original release version. And yeah, I think I may be disagreeing with that. Anyway, before we get into the actual figure itself, a quick look at the packaging. Obviously, it's the new diamond logo packaging. You can see, obviously, he's molded into the cardboard there. So it's not a plastic window. Obviously, limited edition, gold seal on there, featuring one Emperor Davros, 7th Doctor era, all the usual stuff on the side and the top and the bottom, and then a very detailed, if you want to pause that, description of what happens, where Davros is from, who he is, and what happens in Remembrance of the Daleks, which is the story in which this version of Davros appears. Now, just as a quick aside before we look at the figure, I have just recently, earlier this week, recorded a podcast with my Trap One guys, buddies, covering Remembrance of the Daleks as part of the Season 25 Blu-ray collection box set. And so my thoughts on the actual story will be in that podcast, which I think is releasing on Saturday the 21st of December. So I will post a link to it in the community page, and I'll probably add it to the video description once it's out. But yeah, there's no surprise that I absolutely love Remembrance of the Daleks from 1988. I think it's one of the best Dalek stories. I think it's one of the best 7th Doctor stories. I think it's one of the best Doctor Who stories. But yeah, we had a great time doing that podcast, me, Mark, Pete and Simon. So look out for that in the links and the community page. But anyway, let's get the figure out and have a closer look.
You have confounded me for the last time!
Davros. I should have known.
Now, quick thing before we actually try and get that figure out of that bubble, which is stuck to the card in the back, which is a shame, because that's a very nice kind of diorama of the Dalek mothership bridge. But obviously, you know, if you're going to rip that off, you're going to rip all that detail off there. Yeah, a lot of people have criticised that, saying that obviously sometimes they like to use the inner cardboard displays, you know, as part of their action figure displays, and with them moulding that plastic on here rather than using your standard plastic window, it means you're not going to be able to use that. So it's a bit of a shame, because it's a lovely piece of like artwork there. But I'm going to try and carefully remove this so we can have a closer look at that. So I managed to carefully do it by obviously putting a Stanley knife like around like the edges there. So you can actually do it so that you then can see, let's just have a look, obviously the bridge there, which is a lovely piece of artwork. So rather than obviously ripping it off, where obviously that would then take all the cardboard with it, you can do it, but you just have to be very, very careful.
I think I am quite capable of handling the technology.
I sincerely doubt that.
Does it worry you, Doctor, that with it I will transform Scaro's son into a source of unimaginable power?
So here we have it. Here is the new version of the Emperor Davros figure. Obviously, we've got that damaged Dalek in the background there. But as you can see, there are several notable differences. Now, first of all, what we'll do is obviously let's just put the top down. We can see that. So obviously, it's a lighter shade of kind of like cream, which I think obviously may be just down to the fact that obviously it's a couple probably obviously a newer product. I think this may have just probably might have slightly yellowed in kind of like age, even though it's been in a nice cabinet there. Now, the one thing, obviously, you notice straight away is that there's a golder, more kind of like, I would say, brassy colour to the gold paint job. Which, again, here goes my first criticism, is not screen accurate. This gold is a lot more screen accurate to how the gold is on the Imperial Daleks in the story. Now, obviously, I would say that probably it's shinier. There's no doubt about that there. But yeah, there is obviously, you know, they've done a different version of the paintwork on the Dalek baubles. I never know what to call them. The Dalek spheres. Yeah, so there you go. So that's the first difference that you've got. Then you have obviously the kind of like little window that Davros can see through. Now, I always never realised that was actually kind of like see-through, and that was obviously for actor Terry Malloy in the Davros costume underneath, so he could see through that whilst he was obviously manoeuvring the prop around. Now, that is accurate. It has, in the story, it has a black surround there. However, this has a gold surround. Now, the reason why this has a gold surround is because when visual effects expert Mike Tucker was doing some restoration work to the original prop for the Doctor Who Experience exhibit, which is now sadly like no longer kind of like with us, the one that was in Cardiff Bay, he did some additional work and he actually painted that brassy gold colour. So that is accurate to how the prop is now, but not as it appeared in the story. Obviously, you've got like a different paint kind of work on the top of like the Dalek ears. Now, I've seen a lot of people saying that one thing they're not happy with is the fact that this doesn't come down properly. I've just realised it looks really like Zippy from Rainbow. Oh, hello, George. Never noticed that before. And that it doesn't quite fully come down. Now, obviously, again, it doesn't do the same here. You can see there's actually the same fault there, if you want to call it a fault. But that's obviously part of the moulding. It's not that the moulding has warped over time when they've redone the version. But yeah, that's just part of how it looked originally. So yeah, it doesn't quite close to the bottom. You can see a little gap there on the original. And again, you've got the same on this re-released version. So that's kind of like the cosmetic changes to the figure. Now, let's pop open and have a look at this. Now, this one thing really, really irked me when I saw the early photos and the videos. A lot of people praising that, saying that this version of Davros is better. No, sorry, not having it. Davros is not grey-green in the story. He does sometimes come across as that kind of colour at certain points in Resurrection of the Daleks and even Revelation of the Daleks. But the way he is shot and the way the mask is, it's a very kind of light medium brown. So this is the more screen accurate colour. Yes, he doesn't have yellow wires coming out the sides. They are red, so obviously that has been corrected there. But the actual colour scheme of Davros here, I don't know. Obviously they've done that colour for some reason, just probably as a variant. But this is more accurate to how he appeared on screen. And obviously he had more coloured wiring, which is obviously why this kind of, obviously all these different colours here. And do you know what? I get it. B&M probably have a budget. It probably limits the amount of paint that character can use. So there's a lot more subtle paintwork going on here There's only like 3 main kind of like colours used: yellow, a bit of red, bit of blue, and then the rest is grey. But it kind of like really doesn't emphasise the wires that we used. Yeah, this is probably a bit of a more sloppy paint job, but never mind. This is a lot more screen accurate. So, in my mind, I will say, I still prefer the original release. I still think the original release is far more screen accurate. And obviously, if I throw a few clips in the video as well and don't get a copyright strike, you'll see that obviously this is more like Davros as he appeared in the story. But obviously, characters do like to mix things up, and they do like to change things, and they do obviously like to do slightly tweaked versions to give obviously collectors the excuse to collect another version. I still prefer this version. I don't think this is a good enough upgrade. However, that's just my opinion. If you agree, great. If you don't, fantastic. However, if you never got this version, and another thing to say, there's actually, obviously, the inside of the dome is now painted gold, which is obviously accurate to how Mike Tucker has restored the prop. The inside of the prop was never gold on the original story. It was black. So again, this is more screen accurate as it is. Just another little outside there. Anyway, as I was saying, I don't think this is a good enough upgrade. However, if you never got this version, because obviously it sold like hotcakes like 12 years ago, and if you never got this version, then pick this version up. For $12.99, it is an absolute steal, an absolute bargain. I don't think it's a good enough upgrade. I don't think it's good enough to replace this one in my collection. However, if you'd never had this version of the figure, or you didn't pay stupid money on eBay for it, then pick this one up whilst you can, because for $12.99, it is an absolute steal. So there you go. There's my thoughts on the new Emperor Davros figure. If you agree, then cool, leave a comment. And obviously, if you don't agree, again, cool. It's just an opinion. Again, comment why in the comments down below. But yeah, it's nice that we've got it re-released. It's a shame that they've kind of like botched the paint job. But again, they're doing variations, and some of it is down to budget reasons. So there you go. That is the new Emperor Davros figure from the B&M Collector's range. Currently in stores now for $12.99. So if you've never had this version before, pick this up. If you've still got this version, I don't think it's a good enough upgrade. There you go. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, please leave us a like. It really does help out the channel. And also, if you know any fellow Doctor Who collectors, please share the video with them as much as possible. Helps that whole YouTube algorithm and really boosts our channel and our views. Thank you again to everyone who subscribed to the channel. It really, really is appreciated. And we still have one more video to come this weekend, looking at the adventures of Indiana Jones action figure range from the 1980s, and also the recently re-released retro versions. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you very, very, very soon on Bearded Geek Toy Reviews. Bye now.
I will teach you the folly of your words, Doctor! I will destroy you and demonstrate the power of the Daleks!
Davros, I beg of you, don't use the hand.
Doctor, now you begin to fear.
You're making a grave mistake.
Activate the Omega device!
We're going to see if this new... Try again. Today's video, we're going to look at this... Can't get the words out. Take 3. See... Today's video, we're going to see this recently released, re-released, released. I will get it right at one point. Please.